So thank you very much for such beautiful words. Actually, I don't know what I'm expected to talk about. I'm working in journalism for 15 years already. We have a lot of problems with freedom of speech, you know, definitely. But I still have more questions to ask you than to answer myself. Let me read as Brezhnev, because it will be quicker, probably. In the year 1999, the coolest Russian writer, Viktor Pelevin, published his novel Generation P. In the circles of literary critics, there was a discussion what Pelevin meant by this P. Pepsi, or probably pizdец, hardly translated Russian obscene word for the final end. I'm sure Pelevin was talking about the generation of public relations, of PR, which started to play the important role in Russian business and very soon political life. Actually, the main character of this novel, Vavilyan Tatarsky, starts as a copywriter creating the Russian slogans for the Western products, but then moves to politics and devotes himself to creation of new images for the politicians. The magazine Afisha, Russian mixture of Time Out and New Yorker, was launched nearly at that time and mostly for those who were working in PR, advertisement and new media. The slogan of the magazine was and probably is the following. It will be, it will be as we will say. These words might be the personal motto of Pelevin's Vavilyan Tatarsky, who was absolutely sure that there is no real world but the global illusion created by some media, PR agencies and consultants. In Russian language, there is a conjunction как бы, in English, as if, as it were, but it is more close to the Latin word quasi. In common speech, this conjunction was and sometimes still is added nearly to all social phenomena. My English doesn't allow to show you the use of this conjunction in a sophisticated way, but I will try. I quasi-believe in quasi-God. He is quasi-honest. We quasi have a quasi-constitution. Those of you who know Russian can translate it probably better than I do it in English. Nothing was and is accepted as real. Everything was and is called into question. The recent PR invention is the word combination, the hybrid war, to describe the events in Donbass. It is war, but hybrid. Only God knows what is meant, but it works. People don't think that we are involved in war. It is rather a game, a hybrid war. Again, I don't know what is meant by this word hybrid, but it sounds that it's probably not a war. To help you to understand the difference between you and modern Russians from the Generation P, or from those who are influenced by this Generation P, would you please answer me the simple question, how the Princess Diana died? Any versions? The majority of Russians trusts in the conspiracy theory that the princess was killed by the Queen Elizabeth II and the British Secret Service. And no arguments work. They simply trust. They're absolutely sure. It could be just a funny detail to describe our national character if the Generation P would not be in power for nearly all Putin's years, and it is mostly the result of its activity. Looking at the biography of the high-profile Russian statesman who determined the interior policy, you will definitely find among them, first of all, media and PR people. Vladislav Surkov, advisor of Putin and ex-deputy of the head of Kremlin administration, started as the chief of the advertisement department in the company of Khodorkovsky, which is quite funny. The scandalous Minister of Culture, Vladimir Medinsky, for many years was the head of one of the most successful PR agencies in Russia. His partner at the time, Sergei Mikhailov, is now president of TASS, number first government news agency. Mr. Mikhailov and his PR company consulted Putin during his election campaign, etc. Believe me, if you wanted to govern Russia, so you should be a PR agent in the beginning of the 90s. It was the easiest way to make this career. The base of the current regime is the tremendous PR work made by all these and hundreds of other guys ruling television channels, different research institutions, analytical foundations, and PR agencies. The Putin's Russia is, first of all, a huge PR project. Sometimes it even seems that the ruling class is occupied not by ruling, but by creating new and new illusions. It looks like an endless sitcom. The Russian parliament, the State Duma itself, became the media of a new generation. By issuing new and new laws which forbid something, it made the word forbidden the most popular in the country. The society, the media, social networks, opposition are involved in the discussion about completely foolish things, which have nothing to do with real life. Last example. Is it possible to dance twerk opposite the war monument in the public park, or it should be forbidden? I'm serious. It's discussed on the first channel in the prime time. Can we use foreign words, or it should be forbidden? Can we buy alcohol in supermarket, or it should be forbidden? Half of the country was burning last month, but it was not discussed on the television. We have these forest fires, which is quite normal in Russia in the beginning of spring, but it was not discussed at all. Probably a little bit, some lines on the far end of the news program. But the first part was, of course, Ukraine, then discussion about if it's possible to dance twerk, and then something else, then how America tries to destroy Russia, and at the end, probably a little bit about fires. Nobody cares of what is going on in the real life. The most unpopular genre in the Russian media is the reportage about the real life. For instance, one of my colleagues, we are working for many years, we started to work in GQ, he is a war correspondent of television, but nobody is interested on his work as a war correspondent, and so he started to write reportage for me, for GQ, then for SNOB. It's very, risky job. He's, he's in Yemen or in Syria, which is quite dangerous. He's writing brilliant texts, but we publish all of them. But how many people read these reportages? Probably 2,000-3,000 readers. Nothing in comparison to the opinion column of a brilliant writer, but just a column written in 1 hour in Moscow or in St. Petersburg, like 200,000. Nobody is interested in real life, only in illusions, in opinions. There is no difference between state-controlled sites or liberal as SNOB, for instance. It depends only for whom you are working, with whom you are working, yeah? But columns of liberal columnists who stigmatize Putin, or columns of official propaganda who stigmatize the United States, they are much more popular than any other genres we have in journalism. The way back to reality will be long and dangerous, I'm sure. Don't ask me if I see the way out of this illusion. Probably we can discuss it, but I really don't know, and it's probably important for me to know what do you think about this situation, and do we have any way outs? Thank you.
I would ask Nikolay to stay with us a little bit longer, as he said that he would gladly involve in a discussion. And I have the pleasure and an opportunity to ask the first question because I have the microphone and you don't. And it's and as a journalist, I always wondered, is journalism more powerful, or in the modern era, is PR more powerful than journalism? How would you comment that?
I think there is no anymore PR or not PR. As I said, in Russia, this is the global PR situation. Even State Duma looks like a media of new generation. The government, there is a site which publishes regularly the secret correspondence of the Kremlin authorities. I don't know how they managed to find it, but they publish, and it's very funny to read what people who are supposed to rule this country, what they are doing all the day. They are, for instance, inspiring the campaigns against some writers in Facebook, for instance. Yeah, the readership of one of these writers is something like 20,000 people, probably. And the deputy head of the presidential administration sacrifices nearly 1 week of his working time to organize the campaign against this guy. It's really funny to read. I recommend you. Yeah, Putin will seem not the evil if you will read it, what his men do when they work in their offices on Staraya Ploshchad. So I think it's a totally new situation. Everything became, in Russia, I mean, became a sort of public relations.
So, in one way, it's a good news for our present people that the PR is now very empowered. But if you have questions, just raise your arms. So, okay, we have Ralphs, and then we have Valdis, and where's the microphone? Yes, thank you. And now you will see the guy who can answer about the coffee also. So as you see, we are all just like at home.
Yeah, I also started to be a JQ reader when you was editor, and still continuing to be the reader. But question is like, I have my assumption and answer to this question, but I would like exactly hear it from you, from journalist from Russia. What do you think? What exactly will happen if Russian television will be switched off one day?
As I said, the way to the real life will be long and dangerous, and if the television once will be switched off, it will be the end of life, actually, in Russia. Because people really live in television. It's sort of sitcom. I'm not criticizing the contemporary society. I love it. So I love television, I love everything. But really, people watch the news as a sitcom now. And all the attempts of television bosses is how to show the news in the most exciting way. Not as it is, but in the most exciting way. It should be like, like a drama. And they really write it like a drama and show it like a drama. And the highest ratings of news now show that they succeeded. Yeah, they do their job very good. So they think they're very good. I think it's a disaster, of course.
Okay, thank you. And Valdis, now it's your turn.
Let's be honest. The wars are made by boys who like to shoot and catch some adrenaline that way. So the wars will be always. And as we can see, some guys now working for the government also having real fun. Because it's coming up with the great stories, with feeling the influence, the power. It's like never-ending high. Is there any way it's going to change, or are we just going to be doomed by these guys having fun on the highest level?
Hard question. So they are service people, so they know how to, how to manage the situation. Like all these PR guys who are doing our interior policy. But of course, behind them is Mr. Putin and those who make decisions, because this is only service. This is the problem when the service became more important than those who pay for this service. That I tried to say, actually. Now we see that this service, PR service, so made the first people very dependent. And so they understand that they can rule this country and be in power only because all this PR activity is done. And this is the situation which is quite funny.
And we have a question, the third and the last, from Dizis. As I understood, you want a question? Oh, you were just greeting me. Okay. Ciao, Dizis. I would say big thank you to Nikolay, and Nikolay will be with us. So please, as Dagnia told in the beginning of the conference, that we are here all brothers in arms, in communication arms. And let's take the positive things that we are all together and we can interact and ask Nikolay any questions we have in tete-a-tete. Thank you, Nikolay.
Thank you.